It's October 6th, 2017. This is the Overdose Talk Show. You like that?
Yep.
What's going on, Alex?
Not much. Just hanging out, recovering.
Yeah.
Had a little bit of a fall.
Yeah, what you want to tell the story real quick? Alex, he's operating on a concussion tonight, so he might sound like an idiot because that's really unusual. So the concussion will be the excuse tonight, I guess. But yeah, what happened?
I mean, just real short story. I tripped over something in the middle of the night.
You have
in
to
my
tell
room.
people what did you what did you trip over?
My Alexa Pure Breeze filter
that you bought from Alex Jones, right?
But that I bought from Alex Jones. Okay. Yeah, Alex Jones is technically to blame for this.
Right. So you tripped over an Alex Jones product and fell like an idiot against a fucking coffee table or something?
Yeah, well, I think so, because I have a cut. I needed stitches on the side of my face, but then I also landed and hit right on my eyebrow and busted that open. So I feel like there were two impacts, but I don't know.
And how many stitches did you get?
4 to 6, I forget.
Probably a cocktail or two involved in this, I would assume.
Might have had a couple of drinks, might have seen a couple things, but
had a couple drinks, saw a couple things. What, did you take some pills too? Fucking junkie?
No, I don't know, maybe, possibly.
Yeah, you probably did.
But honestly, I feel bad talking about my tragedy when there's a bigger tragedy that just happened.
You're right. That was only the second worst thing that happened in the country this week. We had the mass shooting in Las Vegas. So let's get into that. We have a listener who we've never really talked to before, but he's been kind of commenting and supporting us for about a year. So he seems to be really into this topic. I want to give him a call. His name is Robert. We'll try to get him on the line. Oh, wait. No. He's calling us, I mean. That's right. Because otherwise this sound you're hearing wouldn't make any sense. So, yes. Look, hey, we're getting a phone call here. Pick it up. It's Robert. Hey, Robert, what's going on?
Hey, not too much, guys. How's it going?
All right. Yeah, thanks for joining us. I know you jumped all over this topic and this story as soon as it came out. Right away, I was listening to the live stream the night that it happened, and I thought, okay, I'll just kind of listen for some of the keywords and telltale signs that there's something fucky going on with this thing and something more to the story. And, just a couple hours after it happened, they were already saying this was a lone shooter, blah, blah, blah. And I'm sitting there watching videos of all the eyewitnesses saying there were more than one shooter. So I understand that there can be confusion and people a lot of times get things wrong, eyewitnesses and stuff, and there can be but it struck me as curious that right off the bat they were declaring without a doubt, lone shooter, it's over, we got him. If you were in law enforcement and everybody on the ground, not everybody, there was people all over going, there was more than one shooter, would you not be concerned about that and possibly still looking into it, especially since the first guy is dead and can't tell you anything? You know what I mean? When you start seeing the narrative laid out so definitively, so early, that was the first thing that tipped me off. How about you?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, just the same modus operandi, as they say, over and over again with these predetermined just destinations on this stuff, and the fact that it happened with the man, I'm fucking this up, bro. See, now I'm nervous. We were just talking normal before.
Hey, it's okay. You know what? Predetermined. I don't know if you were going this way, but was it the 4chan post from about a month ago?
Yeah. There was talking about October surprises and just different violence coming up, Antifa. And here it is happening.
Now, that's another strange part about this. It's being reported they found Antifa literature. Like, what the fuck is that supposed to mean? Like, why would, you got fucking pamphlets laying around your hotel room. You know what I mean? Like, that just sounded weird to me. Like, people go online. They don't fucking carry around Antifa literature for the most part. And this is a 64-year-old white guy, millionaire. Let's talk. There's so much to fucking talk about here. We're going to sound a little scatterbrained at times, but... let's lay that out really quick. The guy basically perfectly fits the bill for some kind of undercover work for the FBI or CIA or whatever you might call it. He's independently wealthy, claims massive gambling winnings, has kind of a mysterious lifestyle, no social networking, no nothing, which is not necessarily that weird for a guy of that age, maybe. But he has these 2 airplanes. He's in this hotel room with 23 fucking rifles. The whole thing just fits the bill perfectly as some kind of like arms dealing or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's like the government patsy from Central Casting. Like, he's just the perfect candidate. He worked for weapons contractors and all kinds of weird shit for years. He would have these contacts and stuff. And where do you think they recruit people? The CIA that employs just citizens, you know what I mean, to do kind of weird stuff. Where do you think they get them from? Out of weird companies, I guess, is what I'm saying. But so I'm just trying to give the picture of he would be a good candidate for some kind of shit like this, resembling Fast and Furious kind of stuff or something like that. Because who has 23 fucking rifles to do this kind of thing? I could even see 4 or 5, something like that. But 20, who carries 23 fucking rifles to a hotel room for any reason other than to sell them?
Sure. Well, to me, it definitely says that there's multiple shooters, and there's been videos where there's flashes coming from way lower down than the 32nd floor, probably the 10th floor or something. Flashes coming from down there. Yeah,
those flashes, you could see a video from like an hour after the thing is over, and that flashing thing is still going on.
I heard that really weird guess today that there were separate shooters and they were taking turns and then running, and then the other guy would have his gun and then he'd leave it and run, and then and that's how all the guns got there, which seems like the stupidest thing ever.
Yeah, and this is all speculation too at this point, and this is the type of people we are. This is how we look at things, and there's a lot of motive. People go like, why would the government, or it doesn't have to be the government, it could be private industry, or we're going to lay out a couple of different things, but there's a million different motives to something like this. From just if it's government, false flag, it could just be trying to ramp up this whole idea of a civil war, which still is ridiculous to me, but it's not ridiculous to a lot of people who are hardcore left and right. They really want to kill each other. So
if you want to start a civil war, you get the Antifa group and then you have them fire at a country concert. It fits the narrative
exactly.
Not crazy to think.
It's not inconceivable, at least, right? So but also I don't know where we're going here. Let's do you want to jump into the other theory that you came up with, Alex?
Yeah.
Or I don't know if you came up with this or if you just found it other places.
Yeah, I did actually I'm not going to take credit for coming up with this. It's like collection of ideas I've just seen on the internet.
Okay.
It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird how you research things nowadays when stuff like this happens. But a month ago there were some weird 4chan posts. Look, I feel bad for some of you on this website, so I'll let you know in on a little secret. If you live in Las Vegas or Henderson, stay inside tomorrow. Don't go anywhere where there are large groups of people. Also, if you see 3 black vans parked next to each other, immediately leave the area. You're welcome.
This was a post,
John.
It was a post where?
This was a post on 4chan, yeah.
On 4chan, obviously before the shooting.
Right. And then
Dude,
he
it's
had
funny.
another one
I've
later
seen
on.
just kind of anecdotally. I've seen a lot of chatter from a lot of people on the internet over the past 2 months saying watch for a major false flag event soon, for various reasons.
Wow.
But-
My iPad just died as I was gonna read the next one. Now you don't have to hear me read his next one, but the next one was the important one, where he said they're basically gonna use this incident to promote security systems in areas like shopping malls and hotels and stuff like that.
Yes, this is really interesting to me because a lot of people might think that just sounds so random and strange. But, we've been going this way as a society, more and more security, more and more paranoia and fear. And there's companies that stand to make billions of dollars if they can create a scenario where now everybody wants to have body scanners and metal detectors at every fucking public event. I mean, billions of dollars, right? I mean, I would think. So,
correct.
This to me was really interesting as a motive or at least part of a motive to be in on something like this.
Yeah. Now there's this guy Chertoff who was head of Department of Homeland Security 05 to 09, and then by then he was running the Chertoff Group, and that's a private security counseling group, and they push the big body scanners at the airport. That was their thing. Those are called Rapidscan, the company that makes them. And then it came out that Chertoff's main client was OSI Systems, the maker of
Rapidscan.
Who
owns Rapidscan, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, where it gets creepy is OSI is run by Deepak Chopra. It was founded by him.
Chopra, I think.
Chopra,
yes.
Yeah.
That's so fucking weird to me because I thought he was just some kind of like spiritual guru. I always just looked at him as like a new age figure. And I never really knew much about him.
You knew about him a little bit. I've never heard of him.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've heard the name my whole life. Like,
okay.
But I just thought he was a guy that, wrote books and did speeches. And
yeah.
shit,
well, let me keep going.
Yeah.
James Murin, who's the CEO of MGM International,
yes.
Which they own the hotel where the shooting happened, correct?
Yes.
Now, he's a sitting member on the National Infrastructure Advisory Council.
Okay.
And he sits on a group called the Critical Infrastructure Security and Resilience National Research and Development jargon.
Okay. Keep going.
They lobby for more security with these types of technology, like Rapiscan type technology.
Okay.
And that group's just there to try to figure out how to get investors and get people behind it. And Chertoff is connected to this Sheldon Adelson guy, who's the owner of the Las Vegas Sands Casino. This is kind of a different Las Vegas connection to security. Addison sponsored the GOP debate in Vegas. If you remember the pretty famous debate, there were some funny clips from that.
Right.
GOP. Yeah.
I'm sure we made fun of it at the time.
Yeah, but they really focused on anti-terrorism,
and
war in the
security
Middle
and
East,
shit, yeah.
and security here at home. And the very next day, well, that was basically okay, yeah. So the very next day, you've got mainstream media emphasizing how vulnerable hotels are. And there's this guy, Jim Stover, if anyone wants to look into him. He kept going on to different news outlets and pushing that we need to be worried about terrorism at hotels and all this stuff like that.
So basically we have a web of people with a common interest in selling these Rapidscan systems and getting more and more security into public events and public areas and stuff, and they're connected to the owner of the hotel is basically what we're getting at.
Yes, and a couple years ago, the EU banned a ton...
Hello? Oh, shit, you cut out. Are you there, Robert?
Yep, I'm still here.
All right, we'll wait for Alex to come back. What do you think about this so far?
Am I back now?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay, so and there are
sorry,
there's a ton of these EU Rapidscan machines because they were banned in the EU. So they've got those. They've got a motive to.
So they've got a ton of them just sitting around that they have no use for.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
there's just
here's the thing. I understand people don't want things like this to be true, but if you look throughout history, how many times have people had no problem killing all kinds of people to make some money? I mean, it doesn't. Yeah. It's not fucking weird. And how many companies have there been that made decisions that were either that either caused death or destruction of communities or ruin people's lives? They don't care. A lot of these people, So So it's not a weird idea that they might kill 60 people to make hundreds of billions of dollars. You know what I mean? It's
exactly
right.
And hey, if it pushes the deep state's agenda of a total policed, surveilled society at the same time,
and
double win.
The only reason
get two birds stoned at once.
The only reason I'm thinking this way is just from the beginning, the kind of controlled seeming narrative. Also, the guy himself he just fits the bill perfectly to be doing some kind of contracting for the FBI or something like that. A lot of people are proposing that that's not my theory either, the arms dealing thing. That's a lot of people, for a lot of reasons, are saying this guy seems like an arms dealer. Obviously, casinos are where you fucking launder money, and Vegas has got to be the world capital of money laundering, right? The other weird thing, they call this guy a professional gambler. They don't call him like a professional poker player or anything like that. They call him a professional gambler who apparently played high stakes. What is that? I keep seeing that he played high stakes slots. I'm like, that's like impossible. You can't win consistently.
What is?
So anyways,
that doesn't exist.
Again, all speculation, but it works. If I was a detective, kind of trying to piece something together, I wouldn't have ruled it out by now.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot more plausible things than what the mainstream narrative is right now.
23 rifles.
I'd like to say, never let a good catastrophe go to waste. There could have been something that actually happened, and then they wait for bad things to happen to push their agendas. If you want to give them the benefit of the doubt. But there's just so much with this that I think that it's definitely, there's something more. And I think that we were also operating under the premise that people did die. And if you look at the videos objectively, and I've talked to friends and I said, seriously, show me the blood, show me where there's somebody who actually you can see an actual victim. And so many times with Ariana Grande concert and, the bunch of other things, it just seems really fake to me.
Yeah, with that kind of thing, I don't know. Like, there are photos of a shitload of bodies laying around afterwards, but you could say that that's staged if you want, But like, I don't see when I look at real evil and people that would have the power to stage something like that if they wanted to. Why wouldn't they just kill people instead so they didn't have to fucking risk exposing it that way? I don't think they would give a shit. If we're assuming that it's that evil of a person at the head of something like this. I don't know. Especially out in the open and everything. I don't know. What do you think, Alex? You think it's possible that it was?
I don't like. It's hard. It's hard because you have to put yourself in the mind of these people, and I don't know what makes more sense, faking it or just doing it.
I will say, dude, there was a lot of weird videos, and that's the thing is, fortunately, we don't have a ton of videos of similar incidents to compare it to, but, I'm looking at all these videos, and for a long time, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, I have not seen one person get hit by a bullet or seen any blood. Or
no, like you'd think there would have to be
there was also
guy.
There was also
like on Live Leak or something.
There was also 30,000 people there, and I could conceive of a situation that maybe the area that the guy is firing at, people aren't really taking the time to take out their phones and film it, and maybe most of the film came from areas that weren't really under direct fire.
Right.
Well,
The film came from just where people started rioting and going crazy, and because if you're next to someone who just got their head blown into bits, I'm running. So,
yeah, you're not filming shit.
Yeah.
But you know there were a bunch of videos. There was one that I saw of a lady who was standing there with her husband filming people like run through one of the exits, and they're standing there watching and going like, is that real? Like, they're going, are they filming a movie or something? And the guy's like, I think we should get out of here, you know, this looks real. And she's like, and she's saying on the video as it's happening, while you can hear all the gunshots in the background, she's going, I don't think that, I'm not buying this. I think this is some kind of prank or something. I don't know. You know, she's like, I don't see anybody injured or anybody. I just see people running and falling and then getting back up and running and stuff, you know. Because,
well, like you mentioned, it's owned by MGM. You know, how easy would it be for the movie company to pull off, you know, at least the sound effects or something like that? And again, it's all speculation. I'm not saying that I have the answers, but there's just a ton of stuff that doesn't add up, you know?
There's a lot that's weird about it. What? However, again, like, we don't have a lot of situations like this to compare it to. And
yeah,
you know,
but it's just like, for this to be a random occurrence, it's just strange that there seems to be so much symbolism here, like what you were talking about, just causing the Civil War, or just attacking at a country concert. Like, I'm not a big fan of that type of country, but it is fucking America, you know, like, and maybe it's like this attack on the revival of that.
Well,
I don't know. Like,
country music fans in this scenario definitely is a euphemism for Trump supporters. I would think.
Absolutely.
That's what mainstream America is meant to see here is, you know, look, Trump supporters got attacked. And then I'm not buying the fucking, why did they say Antifa literature? And then also, like, just because I've been to a whole bunch of Antifa websites because I want to fucking see what they're doing. And, like, if it comes up, I'm like, okay.
What if he just walked through a protest and he just was handed a piece of paper?
Or whatever. Like, yeah, Antifa. I mean, there's so many things like we have to... you know, we've researched white nationalists for the show, you know, so then you're going to find an area of my internet history that for 2.5 days, all I did was fucking look up stuff related to white nationalism. So, you know what I mean? If I go out and shoot somebody tomorrow, they're going to take my computer and go prominent white nationalist radio host, and they're going to have a fucking a montage of me of every fucked up joke I've ever made.
There's a lot of
didn't believe what he was told.
Yeah, right. He's a lone wolf. That's the other thing, man. It does get a little bothersome over time that every event like this, every big fucking there's never an accomplice, never, ever. You know what I mean?
Wait.
Like,
what if that's a symbol as like an attack on the American idea of individualism?
Hey, yeah, maybe actually, be like the Timothy McVeigh kind of archetype.
Yeah.
But did you see that the sheriff in Las Vegas has now, in the last day or so, come out and said, we don't think that he pulled this off alone. We think there's other people involved. And then the fucking FBI is like chastising him back in the media, going like, he shouldn't make speculations like that. We're only going on the facts that we have. And
whoa. In devil's advocate, maybe you want the accomplices to think that everyone thinks he pulled it off alone.
What?
Okay, like if the FBI is trying to figure it out, and this guy's saying, wait, you know, there's definitely more people, we got to start looking. Wouldn't you rather have those people think that law enforcement's like, okay, job done, there was just one guy?
I see. Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it could be, who knows? It could be who knows what kind of fucking crazy situation could be going on. A lot of people have said that it looks like the FBI is being real tight-lipped for probably, you know, they're trying to cover up either a botched operation of some kind and they're going to have culpability in this somehow, or the weapons are going to come back to them or something like that. I mean, imagine that if it came out that somehow these weapons were, the stuff that happened in Fast and Furious, like they start tracing weapons back, and it comes out years later, look, the FBI was engaged in tracing, firearms to whoever, and, Alex Jones is saying ISIS. I find that to be a little bit far-fetched that ISIS is doing arms deals in expensive hotels in downtown Las Vegas. I don't know why, but I could be naive. I just don't picture it happening that way. I don't know. But
the mainstream media is saying he's a Muslim. So,
The what?
Well,
the mainstream media is reporting that he converted to Islam 6 months ago and that his girlfriend is Muslim too.
They said that they've gone, dude, this is so weird because they've said a bunch of different things that then they've gone back on, and it's like, how they just erase it like it never happened, just like, we're not going to even acknowledge that we told you this because now it's this. Because it started out with the Muslim thing and then it became Antifa. I don't honestly have any reason to believe anything like any of it, with as fucking terrible as our media has behaved.
That was going to be my original point for the call, was just the fact that if you do the math and look at the ammo, 30 rounds per magazine, and just listen to those successions of fire, there's no way that there was only one guy doing that. And it's funny, you ever heard of John Rappaport?
I don't know. Who is he?
He's been on the show. He used to actually host the show sometimes, and he's another guy who doesn't really have anything to do with InfoWars anymore. He's actually kind of speaking out against it or whatever. That's another topic. But anyways, he's got his website, and I remember the same thing with the Batman shooting over there in Colorado. They broke it down, and they just looked at the victims and the number of minutes that people were in there, and just did it down mathematically. And for every second that he was there, he would have had to shoot a person a second, and be able to reload these things very quickly. And so that's what I was talking about before, was that it seems to me that perhaps these weapons were belt-fed machine guns instead of AR-15s with 30-round clips, which hardly anybody has belt-fed machine guns.
Yeah, it's.
Are you talking about that Rappaport with like the elderly guy with the beard?
I can't remember what he looked like, but he was really boring.
Oh no! Oh, so he's not still on the show, because there's another Rappaport on InfoWars.
Okay.
I think it's the same guy. He was on as recent as 2 or 3 months ago, but he finally had enough, and he doesn't come on anymore. And there's been a few people like that. They just disappear with no word. They're just not on no more.
That's what questionable things happen at InfoWars.
Well, yeah, I think people get sick of like fighting the revolution by selling water filters and fucking supplements.
Like, look at what this fucking air purifier did to me.
I know.
Fucking face.
Hey, if Chobani got 2.2 mil, you could probably get something, man, because they're just doling out money over there.
Dude, I should call InfoWars.
You should call InfoWars and tell them you were fucking drunk and on Valium and tripped over their fucking air thing. And
then he'll go into a debate about the pharmaceutical industry.
Say that you want to talk about how stupid college kids are or something. They'll put you right on. That's like their specialty now. Look at these 19-year-olds. Oh my god.
Do you want to just keep moving, or were you on? You want to keep?
I wanted to mention, that it should be mentioned that it was on the 32nd floor of the building, and right across the street from this giant pyramid and an obelisk, and that whole
32nd floor, 23 guns.
Okay, but what is the significance of 32? Because I know that 33 would be a little weirder.
Well, 33 is the highest that you can get in the organization. Most presidents were 32nd degree Masons. There's only, a handful of 33rds, to my knowledge anyways, from what I've heard. And so, but I don't know.
I mean, it's hard. It is, okay. You have a giant slaughter that happened under a pyramid and an obelisk outside of a fucking golden building. It's pretty hard not to, for there to be like anything that happens anywhere near there, you could go, look, it's, I don't know. It's like if somebody got killed in front of the actual pyramids in Egypt, you can't go like, it's an Illuminati symbol. Like, no, that's just actually the pyramids. I don't know. Yeah, I just try to be like, I'm open to it, but I'm like, what am I talking about? It probably does mean something. I don't fucking know.
Well, like I was just saying, I just think that there's so many facets. It's not one thing or the other. I think that there could have been several different things going on, perhaps. And maybe they do that on purpose to keep everybody from ever putting anything together. It's compartmentalization. You got this crowd of people doing that and this group of people doing that. And, to what end, I don't know. But all I know is that, like I said, never let a good catastrophe go to waste.
That's the thing, yeah. The range of possibilities to me is that it was like, it could be anything from that it was controlled, staged, perpetrated by someone else, or that this guy was in on it, but then they killed him, or whatever. Maybe he did do the shooting, but there's more people involved. Anywhere from that to, I'm still open to the idea that he could just be a fucking psycho nutcase that somehow did this, but they need to show us evidence of that, like perhaps like some video footage of how all those guns got up to the hotel room, because people are like, oh, you ever heard of a bellhop? It's like, dude, do you know guns make kind of an ammo makes sort of a distinct sound when it jingles around and stuff, and like they don't look like normal luggage, so so you're gonna have a lot. It just is weird to me that nobody would notice. It's not inconceivable. He could maybe have done it. It's a busy hotel. Maybe people aren't watching closely. He could have done it over the course of a few days. He was there for 4 days. So, you know what I mean? But we need to see some video of it. So I'm open to the idea still that he could just be a fucking nutcase, because that's the scariest part about this. A lot of us would almost prefer that it was some kind of deep, dark, nefarious plot to the randomness that it's just a nutcase that could just anyone could do this, really. You know what I mean? With enough money, you could do something like this. You could do it with almost no money. We could make explosives in our house right now and go kill someone. I mean, that's almost scarier than the fact that it's like defense contractors and CIA, whatever else. Like, you know what I mean?
Definitely, and I mean, when I look at these things, I'm not going into it, trying to have my conclusions drawn already, but there's just a bunch of stuff that you can't ignore, and I'm willing to, even look at the scenario that he was just doing it by himself, or maybe with one other person, and that person got away. But I was just going to say that the guns can be taken apart. That's kind of the Hollywood misconception that you have to have a big guitar case to carry your guns. They can be taken apart and put into many small pieces. And
I understand that, and that's what I'm saying. It might not be. It might not be anything other than he took 50 trips back and forth. I don't know, but still, like, you know what I'm talking about? That gun sound that they make when you're rattling a gun around, like it has a pretty distinct sound. So I just pictured somebody if he had somebody else carrying all the guns up there. That was my only point. It probably wasn't a bell.
Yeah, unless they wrapped them in any kind of material, then that wouldn't happen anymore.
Okay,
but
fine. Whatever.
Why did it take 72 minutes from the first 911 call for them to find him? There's so much security. Security cameras at a casino.
I think there was a security guard that originally located him that was shot, right?
Okay.
I've read a bunch of different stuff. I've read disconnected the security cameras in his room. How the hell did he do that?
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of different. And then he set up his own cameras in the hallway. Who would be able to do that in Las Vegas? It's like everything's being watched. It's one of the most heavily surveilled areas in the world. Like,
and to what end? Because he just killed himself anyways. It's kind of like the same thing with the Batman shooter in Colorado. They said that he rigged his house to explode, but then he just told investigators about it. So it's like, well, then why would he do that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that thing was fucking weird. Yeah. But okay. So did you know? As far as the multiple shooters thing goes, did you know that Alex Jones hired an acoustic forensics expert to determine whether or not there was multiple guns? I personally have no clue. Everybody's arguing about it online. It'll be one guy who's like, I'm ex-military and there was only one gun because of blah, blah, blah. And some other guy like, no, I'm more ex-military and it's totally 3 guns. It's a fucking... And they'll name the guns and stuff. It's like, I don't know what the fuck to think. But But and a lot of people are swearing it can't be like a modified semi-automatic or something like that, you know, like Robert said. There's a lot of people out there that I've seen say, yeah, it had to be fully auto, you know, either large drums or fucking belt fed or whatever you call it. I don't know much about guns, so
you know, and I would be interested to see the comments and stuff, because, you know, I'm not an expert, but I've been around some guns and everything, and there's a lot of people who have said that. And so I was mentioning earlier that there's a Senator, Tom Cotton, who I don't really like him. He's an idiot, but he served with the 506 Infantry Regiment, the 101st Airborne Division, and the 3rd Infantry Regiment in Iraq and Afghanistan. And he said that it sounds like a belt-fed system to him, you know?
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we're kind of just going over everything and sort of weighing it out. I don't really know which way to lean at this point. I am the type of person who is always more tempted to try to find a deeper fucking network, you know, and stuff like that. And a lot of people would call me a conspiracy nut and whatever. But I like Alex's thing so far. So far, I like the selling the body scanners angle. That's what I like.
Okay, because the following day, Bloomberg ran an article that's the Wynn Casino. They were inspecting guests, and they had their guards looking through their bags and their personal belongings. And their spokesperson at the casino said, "We have to start thinking like the Secret Service."
Yeah, dude. Well, that's where we're going. I mean, it was never gonna not happen. There could be. But
I'm just. It's weird. Like the next day, the news is ready to go. We're gonna start doing this at hotels. That's all. If you looked at the news, that's all they were talking about the next day.
Right.
Was hotels. We were questioning hotel security. You know, it used to be. It was the TSA, and now it's hotels, and they'll just keep schools. They'll just keep doing everything until that's all there is. But there does seem to be companies that would gain a lot from this.
It is, and yeah, there is,
and they're connected to these areas.
It might not just be this, like you were saying yesterday, Alex. They've kind of gone one at a time to every area of life. You know, like concerts are kind of a new thing, huh? Except for rap concerts, but we all know nobody cares when black people get killed. That's liberals really only care when white people get killed. Have you ever noticed that? That's one of the ways they always expose themselves as being fucking hypocritical with mainstream Democrats. You only see this national outcry for gun control after a bunch of white people in a suburb get killed. Meanwhile, every city in the fucking country all year long has huge problems with murder in black neighborhoods, and they don't seem to go down there to protest all that often. You know, they don't. I never see people protest the Bloods and the Crips.
I got two words.
They protest the NRA. What?
Natalie Holloway.
Yeah. Nobody's gonna understand that. That was a terrible.
Yeah. It'd be so obscure.
Terrible.
The millennials won't get that one. Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, you don't see this, like, you know, when there's a weekend in Chicago where 22 people get shot. You know what I mean? Like, you don't see this national outcry, blah blah blah. It's like, dude, they really only care when it happens where it's not supposed to. It's
right.
It's white people.
There's places where this happens,
yeah, and
it doesn't happen in places like Vegas. You go there and you have a safe time.
I mean, there's plenty of murders in Vegas, but
all right. Well, okay. It doesn't happen in your suburban neighborhood. It happens
or to what?
In the inner city.
It's an inner city means black. Okay, that's what it means. So we know what we're talking about. The people only care when it's white people, and I'm not ever the one who's like, oh, look how racist you. But it's just, you know, the same people that are always fucking wailing about racism are actually pretty racist.
Yeah,
privilege out there.
The what?
If you cut,
you're not checking people's privilege out there.
I'm checking their fucking liberal privilege. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing.
PC. I do find that the people that are claiming to be the most liberal, call people racist all the time, are the most racist people I know, and they're live. Like, they say things that contradict their supposed beliefs, but their lifestyles also always do.
I can think of two people off the top of my head, one of whom you know well, wink wink, and they're two people that had when I was like a kid said the most like racist shit ever all the time, and it wasn't even funny or anything. It was just fucking dumb, ugly racism kind of shit. And and now they're like big, passionate Facebook liberals about everything. It's like, and I really kind of want to put them on blast once in a while and just be like, do you remember when you used to sit in my kitchen and watch football and say, "Look at that nigger run like he just stole a chicken"? Like, and now you're so upset that Trump said something about a pussy on a bus 12 years ago. Shut up, fucking hypocrites. Assholes. But yeah, so now it's the other thing that people talk about with stuff like this is gun control. I don't know, I'm done talking about gun control. There could be a mass shooting every single day, and honestly, it would fucking only reaffirm my beliefs that people should be able to protect themselves, because you're not taking guns out of American society. They're not. They could do a massive roundup. It would be a bloodbath, but they could do it, and every documented gun in this country could be taken, and you'd still have millions, like millions out there. So who are you to tell people they can or can't protect themselves? Fuck off. It's not going to change, so why argue about it? You know, either you get it or you don't, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to say earlier was that, no matter what the outcome of who or why, who did what or why, the bottom line is that they're going to attack the Second Amendment. And what is the overall goal of the New World Order? It's to implement a one world government police state, right? Well, seems like we're right on track to me,
Yeah.
Well, but you can never do that until you disarm the public.
Exactly.
You can't have total control, and that's our stronghold. And if people don't understand that, you need to bring up that point, because that idea has to stay alive. And
yeah, but this is why I don't even want to go into it, because it's a stalemate. It always will be a stalemate, because they'll go,
right.
Oh, there's the really prevalent kind of misnomer that the founding fathers only intended you to have fucking muskets and ball and cap pistols and shit. It's like,
if the founding fathers had AK-47s, they would have wanted everyone to have it would have been standard issue in every house.
Well, then that's the thing but they don't care. It's like they still know. Some people will always trust government more than they trust society, and then I think people more like us will always trust more in society than the government. So that's just where it's at. So whatever. That's why the thing is, like, there's no amount of murders that would even compare to what the government can do if the public is disarmed, and has happened all over the world over and over and over again. I don't know why people don't get that it could happen here, But then again...
Yeah, wait, why not, like, when there are people who literally get murdered in Syria because of our government, why don't we protest that instead of protesting the fact that an inanimate object was used to cause some murders?
Whatever. That's kind of a straw man argument too, though, because you got to be honest. If you're gonna see, I didn't want to get into, but like,
point made.
Yeah,
right.
if you are gonna talk about it, you have to acknowledge, yes, they're dangerous. You can use them to kill people, a lot more people than a knife. Yes. Fine, but that to me doesn't change anything. That's the idea. That's
right.
They're good for killing people.
This might be getting a little bit off here. My bad, but you guys know Anthony Gucciardi, right? He used to work for InfoWars.
Maybe, I don't remember. Anyways, whatever.
He did a real good video where he talked to this guy, a liberal, and he was basically saying that he calls on the scientific community to make everything safe. They should make knives that can cut a pizza, but it can't cut your hand. And basically he got this guy to say that they should ban trees. He's like, well, should we ban that tree? Because I could tear a limb off that tree and beat you to death with it right now. And the guy's like, well, theoretically, So yeah,
I do know who that guy is, and he's a pussy. He couldn't beat that guy to death with a tree limb.
He definitely is weird, but I just thought it was a good point, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe not for the show. You might want to edit that out, but
No, it's fine. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It comes down to, people always want to argue gun control with statistics and this and that. It doesn't matter. It's a philosophical argument. Do I believe that the government has the right to tell anyone what they can and can't do to protect themselves? I don't philosophically agree with that whatsoever. So that's just how it is, dude. You know, if you're so scared of guns, fucking get a gun. Walk around confident.
Like I always tell everybody, you know, you say that you don't want a gun, you don't like guns, but when something bad happens, what do? Oh, you call guys with guns, but you know they're qualified. We see how qualified they are, shooting people all the time, shooting dogs.
Yeah, and I don't even have a gun, and I never have had a gun. So nobody can call me a gun nut. I just understand the fucking idea, and I really want other people to have them.
It's the principle.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. It is. It's totally two different personality types on this, two different philosophical beliefs, and you know, two different value systems basically. And that's why you're never going to really get anywhere. You know, there's certain people here and there. I've had a lot of friends just from having like a leftist background and stuff. I have brought a lot of my friends with me, basically just knowing how much they hate the government and going, well, look, this is the whole point of it, blah blah blah, and they eventually come around to it. But yeah, it's
you can never change somebody's like view on the government if you start at guns. You got to start by pointing out the other evil things.
Start with like the Tuskegee experiments or something like that, you know, and then work from there.
You know, another point that I would just say, being out in the heartland of the country, is that you know, it's well known that if you're like in the bigger cities or whatever, you're going to go out into the country, or that you don't want to go out into the country. Sorry, because you know those people have guns, so you're not going to break into some house out in the country because you're probably going to get shot. You have a much better chance of robbing people in the city. You know,
of course. Yeah, I mean that's the old thing of why exactly are you know, crime rates and murder rates so much higher in cities, except for one glaring difference that we won't mention. There's I'm sorry, I'm such a dick. But yeah, it's all places where guns typically aren't allowed. It's funny though, New Orleans is a contradiction to that. You can open carry here, you can conceal carry, no permit. As far as I know, in Louisiana, statewide, it's very lax. But there's still a really high murder rate here. So I don't know. Whatever. Who knows? Who cares? Was this enough of a rambling lunatics, like midnight stoner interpretation of the Las Vegas shooting? Anybody got anything else?
Not yet.
Just want to reiterate the fact that the math just doesn't add up. You know, there's no way that this guy got that type of kill rate, being untrained, you know, 64-year-old guy who just gambles all day or whatever, if that's what you want to believe, you know. But I'm just saying, more than one person. If
you were making a movie about a guy who does like illegal undercover arms dealing for the FBI or just on his own or for defense contractors or what, like if you were going to make a movie like The Shooter or something, like you'd have a guy like this in there. It just fits perfectly, you know.
Yeah.
And what's up with that picture? How come they can't find a better picture of him? All I keep seeing is this one where he's got his eyes closed, and you know,
right?
How come they have no pictures of this guy?
You know, I don't know. Just to play devil's advocate to the conspiracy idea, but he you know, he's 64. He lived a very different kind of life than us. Like, there's people that are that age that really never began with the whole let's take pictures of ourselves all the time and blah blah blah, you know, like there's definitely people that age that wouldn't have many pictures and stuff, just to put that out there, you know.
Sure,
that might not be one of the weirdest things, but yeah, anyways, very very strange. We'll have to see what comes out and come back to this topic pretty soon. Robert, thanks for joining us and helping us through this weird this weird story.
It's my privilege to be on the show. I've been a big fan for a long time, and I really appreciate you guys letting me come on and rap with you for a while.
See, we have fans. I was going to refer to I thought about calling you a fan before, but I decided to go with listener because it sounded less pompous. But he says he's a fan.
Dozens of us, man. Dozens.
I know, literally dozens, but worldwide is the good thing. So
it's we're international stars.
International sensation, the Overdose Talk Show. All right, we'll see you guys later.
Hey, take it easy.
Good night. Just because my lamp and my TV. Hold on. Let me just see if I have an extension.
Because your lamp and your TV. Sounds good.
No. My computer charger doesn't fit the nearest outlet. Because I have my lamp and my TV in it. I'll just... Here. There we go. Okay. I'm gonna get a little more intimate with the vibe anyways, so here we go.
Yeah, whatever.
My shirt, we're going shirts off. That might help. Alright, let's go.
You going shirt off?
Yeah.
Okay.
Might as well go shirt off. I don't want it to rub against the mic.
Okay. All right. Alex said good night before, but I actually only meant to take a break. So we're back on the Overdose Talk Show.
Bad radio instincts back there. My bad.
No, that's all right. I can see how you thought we were ending the show, but it was only like 50 minutes. Let's come back, talk a little more. Let's have a chat.
Yeah. I do need to get my rest so I can meet with my lawyer tomorrow to talk about my lawsuit against Alex Jones, but whatever, we'll talk about it later when I have more. Actually, I guess we won't talk about it till afterwards when it's through.
Do you know how happy it would make me if you really tried to sue him because you were fucked up and tripped over one of his products? I would just love to see you be a public spectacle, just a complete ass that everyone just thinks is an idiot.
Yeah.
That is so great, though, of all the things for you to trip over and bust your fucking head open. I'm so glad it was your stupid air purifier. Like,
it works like a wonder.
What is that
like,
thing
it's
supposed
a good
to do?
Product.
What does it do for you?
It cleans out the dust and supposedly like the smaller particles in the air, and it makes me feel better because I have really bad allergies, and I don't know.
Yeah,
around here they're not that good.
Is a weird thing. Like, we don't smoke in the house or anything. We smoke a little weed, whatever. But like,
and it'll pick up smoke.
There is just like dust. You got to dust once in a while. When you think about that, it's like so there's just shit settling everywhere. It's just floating in. It's coming in the vents. It's coming out of the walls. It's coming in the doors. It's like it's unless
you're cleaning every corner of the house. Like, there is just stuff floating around the air all the time, and you just don't notice it.
Yeah, I was listening to something the other day. I can't remember what it was, but they were talking about brake dust and like these studies that have been done where they find like certain amounts of like when you brake a car, you know what I mean? And how brakes wear down. Obviously that.
No, I've never done that.
That particular. I don't use my fucking brakes. I just fucking that's like one of those kids. Remember those kids when you were young that didn't have brakes on their like BMX? They would just skid stop.
I hated that.
That's how I drive. I don't use my fucking brakes ever.
One time I tried to do that, but it was like wet, and it was the worst.
You just
thing
skid
ever.
the side of your leg. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no. So they're talking about these studies that brake dust, is one of the major contributors to air pollution and stuff, and it's just always floating around. You think about it, if you live in an area where there's a ton of cars driving around, everybody knows your brake pads wear down. That particulate is going somewhere. It's floating around all over the fucking place. You start thinking about stuff. Holy shit. I'm going to have to be a fucking vegan that lives in the middle of nowhere at some point, to stop, to not feel like I'm being poisoned and killed by everything. You start thinking about everything, it drives you fucking insane.
Yeah.
That's what listening to Alex Jones will do. That's why I stopped, because
It'll drive you insane. There's a clip of I don't know if it was Alex Jones or one of his reporters, but this lady. Oh no, it was a guy talking, and he had like an Alex Jones shirt or something, and she brings him up, and the guy's like, he's a great man, and InfoWars was reporting, and she's like, I have a message to you, Alex Jones. You've ruined my son's life. He's obsessed. And it's like it will do that to some people.
Well,
but
it's a weird.
It would have been something else if it wasn't that.
Remember how I used to be, where I listened to Alex Jones like all day long, kind of like I would drop in and out of the show, whatever, and I would just listen to it all day, every day, and or something like it, you know, and or be checking out other videos related to the same topics and stuff. But you know, I got kind of sick of coming, like, you sit in the house all day and like, oh, the world is ending, oh my god, we have to do something. And then you go outside and people are just like, hi, nice day, isn't it? And like, I'm walking around and birds are chirping and there's like people doing fun stuff and everything, and you're like, you know, maybe there should be some balance to this, you know, this way of thinking. And I totally get the urgency of a lot of these issues too, but it's like, yeah, you got to have some balance, and you can't just listen to that shit all the fucking time. And then yeah, you end up like, shit, the fucking dust is killing me. I gotta get this air purifier, and I need super male vitality because my dick don't work.
Yeah.
And I need the one that the tangy tangerine with 90 essential minerals and nutrients, made by Joel Wallach, author of Dead Doctors Don't Lie. Yeah, that's how much I used to listen to that fucking stupid show. But
well, I don't know if you noticed, but this air purifier is so quiet. I just turned it on, but it's like the sound started to get all fucky with you, so I'm just gonna turn it off.
Okay. Yeah, this weird electrical stuff happens with that shit sometimes. So what else is going on with you?
Nothing. I don't know if you heard me, but I was just opening my bottle of Maker's Mark.
Oh, yeah.
Taking the wax off. It's always kind of
wax,
cool.
Baby. That is cool. I wish more people had wax on their products that you had to rip through. That is a nice, satisfying feeling. You wanted to talk about what is going on in Illinois with or is it just Cook County, the beverage tax?
I think it's just Cook County.
Okay.
The Cook County, I don't know if it's phrased as here. Is it the beverage or the sugary beverage tax? But basically, what I've heard is they're just trying to charge 1 cent per ounce on sugary, like, sodas and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's the same old concept of like, oh, well, you know, it's bad for you, so if we tax it, it's not that we want the money knowing you'll buy it no matter what. It's really that it's this cigarette shit. It's like, hey, if you want to sell a harmful product in our state, buddy, we better be making millions off it, because then it's okay. Right. You know? Because
then it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, why not... Why not just make it illegal? But I don't believe in that. I don't believe in making anything illegal.
That's the old thing, is like, we talk a lot about like artificial sweeteners and aspartame, and somebody asked me one time, like, well, should aspartame be illegal? And I'm like, wow, that's a rough one, because that kind of goes against my personal philosophy. So yeah, whatever. Even though the shit, you know, I don't drink soda. You know, Mexican Coke is about as far as I'll go. But or maybe one of the throwback fucking drinks once in a while that has cane sugar.
Yeah,
but
sometimes. And I don't even know if it really has sugar in the one in the glass bottle, but it's just kind of cool. Like,
well, you look for the Mexican Coke. The American glass bottle Coke still has corn syrup, but nah, they're around. I don't know.
But if I'm anywhere and I see a soda or a drink, any kind of drink like that with real sugar, I'll get it just because it's so rare.
Oh man, soda is so fucking good.
Yeah,
it sucks not soda. Drinking it. But you know what? If I drink corn syrup shit, now that I haven't had corn syrup or very much of it, I'm sure I take in a little bit. But like a regular old fucking Coke will give me a headache right away. And that never used to happen until I got used to not drinking it.
I bought this bottle of Costco scotch, and I just like hated it. So I was just mixing it with Coke, and I started drinking. Like, then I just wanted soda pop.
Soda pop? What are you fucking...
Yeah, I can't believe I just said that.
10 years old in the 40s?
Let me get a soda pop, mister.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that stuff, it's weird, and there's a lot of... The labels have gotten longer and longer and longer.
Yeah, dude, whatever. So anyways, the point is we don't drink it, but still, you know, why do people still go along with this idea that the government has the moral authority to police things? I don't know. Yeah, why am I even asking this? It's because everyone's retarded.
Well, right.
And they'll argue over whether or not it's good to drink soda instead of whether or not it's fair for the government to do this.
Dude, I saw the reason I even wanted to talk about this was because I saw this YouTube commercial, and I couldn't, like the localized ones, and I couldn't find the actual video. But it was like this black woman, like clearly like a just struggling mother, probably from the inner city, and she's like, I don't want to have to drive to Indiana to buy soda or like to buy drinks. And it was painted in such a weird way.
Well, the news loves to make black people look retarded. That's kind of what they do. That's like their specialty. They always find the most idiotic, fucking dumbass black guy they can to explain what happened. You know, well, see, what had happened was I was standing here with Cookie, and Cookie said, "What the fuck?" They always find that guy, you know, and they like, yeah, I don't know. That's that's one area where I think black people are totally right when they're like, yeah, they try to make us look. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I agree.
And who's gonna drive to Indiana? Why don't you just drive to the next county over?
This is the point I wanted to bring up.
Yeah, it's not a statewide tax.
DuPage County's right by Cook County.
Or how about drink some water, you fat fucking idiot?
Yeah, drink some tap water. Drink your fluoride.
Well, you know, you got to get a filter. I do have a nice fluoride filter. Takes it out, the kind with the aluminum in it, you know.
Does it say in pamphlet that it takes out fluoride?
Yes. Yeah, that's part of it.
Oh, cool.
That's the only reason we have it, really.
Word up.
Yeah, so whatever. More bullshit. Taxes in Illinois. That's one thing I'm not looking forward to about moving back to Illinois from here, which I'm doing, by the way, everybody. We're going to have the show in person, all in the same room, broadcasting live twice a week again soon, which is going to be fucking great.
A big reunion.
We've really struggled through doing it on Skype. It sucks. But yeah, we're gonna get back to the old days of everybody hanging out and having different guests around all the time and stuff. That's going to be cool. But I'm not looking forward to the going back into the fucking grid of just total government control over everything, because like it influences every part of life. Like here, you can walk down the street with your drink with a couple of your friends, smoking a blunt, laughing and yelling. Cop drives by, you don't even fucking worry about it for a half a second. It's like they don't care. They're dealing with some other real shit, or they're lazy and they don't want to do anything, or they're gangsters and they're fucking busy with other shit. Whatever, you know. It just is. It's so much more relaxed here when you don't have to worry about cops and all this bullshit and the expense of taxes and regulation on everything constantly. It's an expensive place to live, probably mostly due to overregulation.
So why are you choosing to come back to?
I don't know.
Where the police state is heavy.
I don't know. It's stupid, but because that's where everybody I know is, and I didn't feel like making new friends. I've been sitting here alone for 2 years, and I just don't feel like it. New people, who cares? I kind of just I know who I know. Dude, that's it.
I'm getting to the point where new people are really overrated, and
yeah, and
you have to be really special to be a new just someone I even want to talk to.
You know, and do you know how many friends? Like almost every friend that I made after I was 25 was short-lived and turned out to be like we were completely incompatible at some point. and we realized it at some point and just stopped hanging out or had like a big fight or some shit, It just doesn't work out anymore. I know who I know. It comes down to that. So I want to come back, but mostly, that's where my network is. That's where my resources are. It's where my friends and family are and everything. And, whatever.
Yeah, the family back east.
Darcy's family's all up there. She wants to go back. She's, she's got her sister has kids that are growing up and blah, blah, blah. All of that kind of shit. So, yeah, I guess that's basically why. But yeah, dude, it is so much nicer to just not have to worry about fucking police every time you leave the house, because that's how it is up there. You're driving 4 blocks, you're looking all over the place for cops.
It really is. Yeah, I can't drive 2 blocks to the sub. Like, it sucks.
And why are we driving 4 blocks? Because we're fat and out of shape.
Yeah, if I had a bike though, I need a good bike.
I do
honestly.
routinely drive to get cigarettes, and it's exactly 4 blocks away. Let's see. I got this article. Parents catch FBI in plot to force mentally ill son to be a right-wing terrorist.
I heard about that.
Yeah, this was news for 6 hours, like everything is now. There's so much shit going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's become a near weekly occurrence. Somewhere in some state, the FBI will announce that they've foiled yet another terrorist plot and saved lives. We've gone over, dude, in the history of this show alone, I don't know, and we've been around, 2 or 3 years, and I think that we've done 5 or 6 stories, I'm going to say, just as a guess. I think we've done about 5 or 6 stories where there's a clear... somebody, hey, look, we caught somebody with this plan. They were going to do this. And then you go through the articles, it comes out, oh, yeah, well, it was actually the handlers or the FBI's or the undercovers' idea the whole fucking time. And they basically talk idiots into doing shit. And then go, hey, look, we got one.
I remember the one where this chick got a hot cop got a retarded kid to buy pot and then arrest him.
Oh, there's tons of these. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so...
So this one is Jerry Drake Varnell, 23-year-old diagnosed schizophrenic accused of attempting to bomb a bank. The FBI fomented terror from a right-wing dialogue. In a June meeting with the agent, according to FBI documents, Varnell described himself as a believer in 3%er ideology, which is a right-wing group claiming to be committed to standing against and exposing corruption and injustice. Well, they sound awful, right? According to federal documents, Varnell drove what he believed was a stolen van containing a 1,000-pound ammonium nitrate bomb on Saturday morning to blow up an Oklahoma City bank. If we backtrack just a bit to when the FBI began grooming their would-be right-wing militia terrorist, blah, blah, blah. So basically the FBI knew he was a schizophrenic. And yeah, it's the same story. We've seen it 100 times. I remember years ago a friend of mine that came back from Afghanistan and a couple other countries in the Middle East. Oh, I guess Alex just was gone. Okay, bye. A friend of mine that came back from the war as a Marine, he was telling me, and then he became a cop, and he was telling me, yeah, there's such and such 8 or 9 active Al-Qaeda cells in the Chicagoland area, and we started all of them. And they just bust the guys once in a while when they need to, or use them for whatever. I mean, this is an old fucking theme. So here's what this guy's parents say. What the public should be looking at is the fact that the FBI gave our son the means to make this happen. He has no job, no money, no vehicle, and no driver's license due to the fact that he's a schizophrenic, and we, his parents, do everything we can possibly do to keep him safe and functional. He has suffered through countless serious, full-blown schizophrenic delusional episodes and has been put in numerous mental hospitals since he was 16 years old. The FBI came and picked him up from our home. They gave him a vehicle, gave him a fake bomb, and every means to make this happen, none of which he had access to on his own. Typical, right? The parents noted that during the setup, they suspected something was going on, and Jerry's father told the informant to stay away from their son. However, according to the parents, the informant continued to sneak into our residence. The FBI paid him to continue this operation, and I believe they have cleared his criminal record. Oh. There, we got Alex back. Hey,
Hey, can you hear me? I switched to the computer.
Okay. So anyways, yeah, just still talking about this Jerry Varnell fella the FBI set up. But again, he's just one of many, and especially since they've been working so hard over the past 10 years to promote the idea of homegrown terrorists, and the simple fact of it is there aren't that many people with those kind of plans. So they have to make them up basically to justify their own existence,
Like, I remember a kid who told me he had a hit list when I was in high school. But, like, he was so nice to me. So, like, we were cool. So I knew I wasn't on it. So I kind of carved it up to just talk. And he ended up being like a real...
That's the saying. You carved it up to just talk. There you go.
Is that not a saying?
No.
I just made up a saying. But I just decided he wasn't really serious, and he ended up being like a real nice kid.
Look,
he was just going.
Any way you carve it, you can never fucking know somebody's motives, if you're not.
Because he also said he was a Nazi, and like he wasn't. And I asked him like years later when I saw him, I was like, "What about that Nazi stuff?" He was like, "Yeah, I'm over it."
Yeah, I mean, there just aren't that many serious people like that out there, I'm sure there are a few, but yeah, generally they have to make this shit up. So there you go.
Generally.
Yeah, just like most terrorism somehow ends up being creepily linked to fucking intelligence organizations and shit, This is the whole problem, reaction, solution. This is the way they keep everything controlled and make sure it fits their agendas. Yeah,
man. By the way, like I want to just let everyone know we're gonna kind of break down the whole shooting better.
It's just overwhelming when all the information comes in at once, and I think we're gonna break it down into smaller topics and hit all the major bullet points better on the next show. But whatever. Motel 6 is under fire after admitting that locations regularly called ICE, the immigration shit, to report undocumented immigrants staying there. This is a weird one because how the hell would they know? Maybe if they didn't have ID, I guess, or something. I don't know.
I mean, they could just suspect.
Yeah, they could. Motel 6 is in hot water after journalists discovered that at least 2 Arizona locations were calling ICE to report guests that employees believe to be undocumented immigrants. Yeah, which is strange because I would assume that like a good 95% of Motel 6 employees nationwide are Mexican. I don't know. Mm-hmm. That's just the way it seems to me when I stay at hotels like that. It's mostly Mexicans working there. Most places, unless you're in like Appalachia.
Is it racist that like they could be Guatemalans? Like, is that racist that you think they're Mexican?
Yeah. Okay. So Hispanics, I guess they could be. Yeah.
So is that the thing? You're racist if you don't use the right term.
It's not really. I mean, people have joked about it for years. Like, if you're in Chicago, you say Mexican, or Texas Mexican, and then if you're in New York, you say Puerto Rican. In Miami, you say Cuban. You know what I mean? Like, you kind of just mean Hispanics, I guess.
But they have all they have the Puerto Rican neighborhoods and the Mexican neighborhoods in Chicago. No, and they hate each other.
I know that. That's why, Hispanic people probably hate when you do that. But I'm gonna go Mexican for most Motel 6 employees. I think that's probably true. I'm sure there's some Guatemalans in there. I'm sure there's some Brazilians and some Colombians and. Should I name more South American countries? No. The Phoenix New Times reported on this. According to motel guests and employees, workers would call ICE to report checked-in customers who they were suspicious of. We sent a report to ICE. The names of everybody that comes in, one front desk clerk told the Phoenix New Times. Every morning at about 5 o'clock, we do the audit and we push a button and sends it to ICE. That's fucking weird. They must be making money off this, right?
I would think so. They got some incentive. Maybe they just don't like the guests, the Mexican guests.
Or maybe it's just a way to get people out of the rooms early, get new people in.
Maybe it's just a publicity stunt.
Yeah, to make themselves look.
Yeah,
Look like they're not employing a lot of illegals.
Trump supporters will stay at Motel 6. Like truck drivers will stay at Motel 6.
See, dude, that's why this is weird, because like classically, you know, like you got restaurants and hotels have always seemed to be like the biggest employers of, and you never know who's illegal or legal or whatever, but just the biggest employers of Mexicans that I've noticed.
Yeah.
And wherever there's a lot of this isn't fucking this is just, I know this from experience. Wherever there's a lot of Mexicans working, a high percentage of Mexicans working, there's going to be a couple of them who aren't really quite on the books, you know.
On the books, yeah. Usually. That's what someone said to me, like, you know what about Trump? Like, how many Mexicans do you think, illegal Mexicans do you think he has at his hotels? And I'm like, I don't know. He might not have any.
Well, that's the thing. It's not always. It's also not always like employer. You know, just because
it might not be his fault because they got illegal papers.
That's the thing. It's like a lot of illegals that I've worked with. They tell me like, yeah, like $1,500, you get set up with a fucking social security number, everything you need. There's people that'll do it. So yeah, like a lot of I've known a lot of people that were illegal, and after you become friends with people, they'll open up to you about it and stuff, and they're like, yeah, you know, I just paid for this, and they have an ID that says like some other name, you know. Like,
yeah, I worked at this restaurant with this Polish kid, and one day he gave me a ride home. My car was fucked up, and we got to talking, and he was born in Poland, and he was like told me he was technically just an illegal citizen, just like a Mexican person.
Sure.
So, you know, just like, you know, it wasn't the stereotypical, but it was like, yeah, same thing. And he was like, hey, just don't bring it up around, or, you know, just don't ever talk about it, because, you know.
Yeah, dude, we've all known. That's the thing about Chicago that a lot of the country probably doesn't have, is a lot of Eastern European immigrants. Like, we all know plenty of people that are first or second generation, you know, Eastern European.
You'd be surprised at how many Eastern Europeans were down in Gulf Shores, Alabama.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm sure there are other places, but I think maybe a lot of the country wouldn't think of it as a major source of, like, an influx of immigrants. But definitely, you know, certain areas it is. I remember going to, like, Polish areas outside of Chicago. One in particular, I guess, maybe up in Palatine, and it was insane. There was like an entire apartment complex of Polish people, and they had like Polish grocery stores nearby. Everything set up. Certain places just had Polish writing, no English, you know, and
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I don't care. It's fine. It just was interesting. Like I just feel like a lot of people don't know that, you know.
Oh, right. Well, Dude, Poland's actually awesome. I don't know if you've been there, but I have.
No, I have not.
I went to Poland, and it was really, really cool. Actually, I would love to go back there. I only got to spend one weekend there.
Okay. And what was so great about it?
Well, for one, it's cheap. Everything's cheap, well priced, and good quality, because they're not in the part of the EU. They're just their own shit. Okay. And like they don't have like any of the migrant problems. Are definitely, I don't know if they. I don't know.
That's xenophobic.
I don't know if they let migrants in Poland. I know they definitely don't let any in Hungary. Hungary is way anti-migrant, but Poland is very like. I don't know. They're just kind of like cool, like tough people and nice people, and it was cheap. But I went there for an LCD Sound System concert, which was it was a festival, but they were there.
So you think? Let me just get this straight, okay? You actually think that it's a good thing that they don't let Muslim migrants in?
Refugees?
Or yes. Refugees?
Yes.
That's racist!
Well, okay. Call me racist. If that makes me racist, then I'm racist.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to deny the statistics that we've seen come out of places like France and Sweden and
Sweden is the worst.
Where
but
enormous
France, Germany.
Yeah, enormous spikes in fucking rape and violent crime and assault, and law enforcement basically being caught a bunch of times trying to hide it, and
they're like in
or downplay the cultural element, I should say.
In Sweden, they're like so brainwashed that women are like I heard this in a report, I should say, that women are like afraid to even admit that they were raped because they don't want to be racist.
Yeah, that's the
like that is Stockholm syndrome in Sweden.
Yes, the home of Stockholm syndrome.
How crazy is that? You can't make that up.
Yeah, dude, that is sometimes where, like, I don't know, what do you even call it? Like, where, what do you call it? Like, maybe being compassionate culturally to a fault or something like that, like where you're so hooked on the idea that all cultures and people must be the same as you, like people don't get, like, there's people that get a little bit, they you can tell they bristle up when I've said stuff recently to a few people about, hey, look, you can't expect people from the other side of the world to have the same value system as you. So a lot of times, like, there's things that are very undesirable about a lot of majority Muslim countries, like, especially if you're into women not being raped and things like that.
Do you think, like, maybe it's like a victim / privilege, like, concept?
I don't know what you mean.
Just like that, the victim is always focused on nowadays in our society and kind of like raised up, and you have to worry about them. And if you're privileged, that's also like we're taught that's like your fault. And
I don't know. It's a way. In a way,
you should be ashamed.
It's what happened in our country years ago through, like, I don't want to sound I know, like, this stuff is all a weird line to walk because, it's true that, like, for years in this country, in a lot of ways, people have been afraid to report. Like, the media is notorious for this. The mainstream media is notorious for not reporting the skin color of any minority that commits a crime, but, like, they used to a lot. I don't know. It goes, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've all heard stories about, like, there's like some rapist at large, and they give, like, a bunch of details about him, but leave out skin color and stuff like that,
right?
Or like,
that's always very weird.
So it happened here a long time ago too. I think it's just people's tendency to, like, I don't want to make it sound like all black people are rapists. Like, I swear to God, why would you ever be that fucking insecure in yourself? You must be paranoid that you're racist, because if you're so scared of seeming racist that you can't say, like, this person who committed this crime looks like this, then you probably have fucked up psychological problems, and you probably really do have a lot of hatred inside of you somewhere that you're trying to hide,
Well, yeah.
That's the way I look at that stuff. But yeah, so, like, it's hard to argue with a lot of those stats in Europe where the influx of not even necessarily all Muslim might not even be the contributing factor as much as anybody from that country, Muslim or not. These are fucked up countries, I mean, you look at stuff like Pakistan. Do you have any idea what goes on in Pakistan?
Yeah, but it's like it's all the ways they treat this shit in Europe, because
no. I'm asking you.
Oh, am I at? Okay.
Do you have any idea?
Yeah,
what goes
I know.
on there?
I know how fucked up it is in Pakistan.
I got to pull this up really quick. This is something that blew my mind the other day. First cousin marriages in Pakistani communities leading to appalling disabilities among children. I guess incest is such a long-term problem in Pakistan that I've read.
It's like 73% of the population.
Yeah, dude. Upwards of 70% of people are descendants of some type of incest. So they're having all kinds of problems with fucking deformities and disabilities and stuff like that. And
that causes you to be more aggressive and more volatile.
What about it? And then you got places like, I mean, this is what people don't want to accept. Like, I have no problem with someone who chooses a belief system and doesn't hurt anyone. That's fine. But like these countries that we're talking about taking in indiscriminately thousands of people from are fucked up places. Like Yemen, where it's legal for a fucking 70-year-old to marry an 8-year-old and rape her to death. Remember that story? I don't know if you were on that show, but we did a story about like a guy in Yemen that legally married an 8-year-old girl, raped her to death on their wedding night, and then was acquitted of all charges because it was his right to do so. And that Saudi Arabia, where people are chopping off heads in the street publicly. I just saw a video the other day of a woman that was like convicted of something or other.
I think it was driving.
No, it wasn't driving. Now that I would have been fine with, but no, this was something, adultery or blah 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 or doing something, I forget. But anyways, even if she had done the thing, and even if it was a terrible thing, here's how their society works. This was a video from a couple weeks ago. The fucking bailiffs and whoever is from their weird primitive.
Who's the judge and jury?
Their weird primitive desert court. They drag her out into the middle of the street, stop traffic in a major intersection, and cut her head off with a fucking giant Aladdin sword. That's the kind of countries we're talking about. Syria, where there's been Afghanistan, Iraq, where there's just been war for 2,000 years. People are not like us there. They're not going to just assimilate into Western culture. I'm sorry. I know that's an uncomfortable fucking thing, and it's an unfortunate thing, but the statistics are what they are with that, and this is one place where it's pretty fucking clear, that they're taking casualties in Europe because of a mass influx of people from Middle Eastern countries. Don't even call them Muslims if you don't want,
Yeah. And, say what you will about Gavin McInnes, he has this great, he coined the term hate facts. Like, if you bring this kind of stuff up, the amount of incest from countries like this, that it's a hate, it's like hate speech, but it's a fact.
Dude, I mean,
what?
I was talking to a girl not too long ago that I like, and I don't, we're friends and whatever, but we're sitting there talking, and somehow this kind of stuff came up, and I said something about how, like, a lot of these places you got people who, until a generation ago, were basically in the Stone Age, and like.
Some of them still are
in some places,
territory,
and so like you can't expect them to be to have advanced the same way as we have, who have had a lot more time to build a society, I guess. Well, it's all about differences too. Like, we have a different value system here, and now I think objective morality would probably say that rape is bad whenever, wherever, but apparently they don't agree in a lot of places. I don't know, dude. That fucking disturbs me. What happened in Cologne a couple years ago on New Year's Eve, when there was like hundreds
you're pronouncing it wrong. Yeah.
No, I'm not. That's how you...
Well, it's clone.
What? I said Cologne.
Clone.
You're not supposed to say Cologne. You're supposed to say clone. Whatever. Okay.
Yeah, you stupid American.
Yeah, anyways. But, like, there's a lot of disturbing fucking things that have happened, So... And anyways, I told her the thing
where all those women were raped on New Year's Eve. Yeah, that was fucked up.
So I told her the thing about the Stone Age, and she was like, "Well, here's what she came up with." She was like, "Not all of them," and I was like, "I didn't say all of them. I said a lot of them. I said a lot of these places are really." And she's like, "Look, you could tell she didn't like what I was saying, but she had nothing." I was just like, "Look, it's simple." History and current events, like, you can look it up. These places are fucked up. You wouldn't want to live there. And I did the thing to her. I was like, assuming that you care about sort of like feminist issues and stuff like that, you should really be appalled at a lot of the Arab world,
which is like the number one point you should stress to a person like I think you're talking about.
Yeah, she's young and she thinks she's liberal. I mean, who knows?
A young liberal woman at a bar. If she's
Right.
arguing about Islam, just bring up the fact that they treat their women
Horribly.
like secondhand. Yeah, horribly.
A lot of them, not everywhere. Like Palestine, from what I know, seems to be a more chilled out place. You know, there's a few places that are not like that. You know, but like
Yeah, like the places that are like that, they do it in the name of the religion. So know what you're supporting.
I know. Yeah, but then they'll go, "Oh, there's been a lot of Christian misogyny." It's true.
Okay,
but who cares?
okay. There's some. There,
you don't have to
we
compare
could
them.
we could be a way more radical country if we took the Bible more literally, because we were a country based off the Bible, but we didn't. So like the countries you're talking about, they didn't take the Quran so literally, but some countries do, and it's bad there.
Well, that's the thing, but they're trained to defend Islam as a monolith. Like, that's the other thing that bothers me a lot of times about liberals. It's like, you're perfectly fine making a monolith of something in support of it, but you hate it when somebody paints in a broad stroke in a negative way, which is, you know, you probably shouldn't do either, you know, but...
As long as it supports your narrative.
Right, yeah, anyways, yeah, isn't it funny? We were just talking about the, you know, Mexican immigrants and stuff, who we really don't have much of a problem with. At least I don't.
No, I don't either.
It's like, I kind of did for a little while, but then I started to think about, like, how can I blame somebody ever for trying to get out of that fucking country and come here? How could you blame them? It's so much better here. It's so fucking much better here. It's ridiculous.
Much better. And if you could pull it off, God bless you. If you came over here on a raft, God bless you. You're fucking amazing.
Yeah, honestly,
because I care a lot more about people and the future of humanity than I do this less than 300-year-old country we have here.
You don't think,
although I love America.
You don't think we should preserve the European values that built this great nation? Have you? I've been listening to a lot of white nationalist stuff lately. A lot of white nationalist stuff.
I've looked at a lot of that stuff too. But here, okay, so maybe this European heritage built this phase of this great part of the nation. But maybe
I was just kidding, to be honest. I mean,
I know.
I think there is.
I was gonna roll with a.
Yeah, I think there is a nugget of truth there, but like, you can't discount the fact that like
I knew you were kidding.
Yeah, but like these people, like, it's easy to go like, oh, European, but you tend to forget at the time they all viewed themselves as different from each other. It wasn't all happy one race and culture. There was a lot of clashes between English, Irish, German, and whatever. You know what I mean? Like
we haven't been all one and together till after post World War II.
That's true. Yeah. I'm serious. We need to do a series. I'm gonna do this, I guess, if no one else will. A series on the rise of the cultural Marxism in our society. Because if you look back, and we might have talked about this, the Frankfurt University in Germany. I don't remember.
Frankfurt University, and something or other about French intellectuals and stuff, but basically brought some ideas over to America post World War II, and they were disgusted by the happiness here, so they decided to build a way to control the people, because the way America was set up, you couldn't control the people like you could in Europe.
Sure.
Because in Europe you had the monarchy, that you just had the ruling class.
Well, Europe for a couple thousand years was very tribal, of course, you know, and they kind of continued that, I guess, in certain ways. Whereas we were supposed to be a republic, all for one for all. Yeah, I see what you're saying. But it is interesting how like the ideas of like white people and black people sort of solidified over the years, because I guess there was always Africans, but I've seen a lot of really compelling videos and things that suggest that what we know today as African American, and a lot of people that think of themselves or identify as African American culturally, may not actually be African, or may just be a small part African.
Yeah,
and that it encompasses.
That's why I refuse to use the term African American.
Well, no, it's silly. Whoever says that anymore, anyways. But if
I was a person who got offended, I'd be offended by that, because
But wait, here's my point though, because like what is suggested by some people is that this a lot of different islanders, Pacific Islanders, natives, Caribbeans, people, whoever, were basically combined into what we know as African American. And this goes into what we were talking about earlier off the show, about there's people that like suggest that the slave trade wasn't what they say it is, and one of their biggest points is like, why would they go across the ocean and spend a bunch of money buying slaves and then bring them on a trip where 2/3 of them die and they're weak as fuck when they get back, and it takes forever and it's really expensive and blah, when there's fucking dark-skinned people all over this continent and the surrounding islands. And and if it was you know what I mean? But obviously there's
what
answers.
I said earlier.
What?
Just that, I mean, you might want to preserve the area around you so it's not destroyed and having its civil wars like Africa is.
Oh, not destroyed by cartels like Mexico and Colombia?
Well, okay, yeah, the cartels.
I mean,
okay,
and
but
Europeans never...
South America is not comparable to
But dude,
Africa.
there's a lot of documented slavery of Native Americans, islanders and stuff. I'm just saying, maybe it represents a bigger portion of what people think of as African Americans now, and whatever. I mean, it's not a huge deal. It's just interesting how it seems like there may have been a concentrated effort to push things into just white and black, where maybe there used to be 50 different types of people, but they would rather have us corralled into two distinct camps.
Right, it's the haves and the have-nots.
Yeah, and then the Mexicans get in there, and they're kind of just...
It was the haves and the have-nots. Now it's the oppressed versus the oppressor.
Right.
It's who is oppressing you. Is black people? It's easy.
Anyways, that's that idea though, that like, imagine there kind of wasn't really just a white like 70 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That is interesting.
So it's completely changed to where, I mean, it's clearly, I think it's been orchestrated.
And some of it is probably just done through suggestion, like as media and video and television got popular. You can do a lot of stuff through suggestion to suggest that we have two separate societies, and it's the black society and the white society. I think there's been a lot of that done over the years too. And honestly, some of the stuff that people look at as attempts to help minorities, like I think the civil rights movement had a lot to do with keeping us divided, because before the civil rights movement, there was a lot of trends that were much better in black neighborhoods than shortly after the civil rights movement. In a lot of black neighborhoods, 40s and 50s, they had like what people they were becoming way more prosperous. They were having more entrepreneurship and opening more businesses than white communities. They had a lower crime rate than white communities. They had more trends of like upward mobility, I guess you might call it, than white communities. They were doing pretty goddamn well on their own, and then the government said, no, you need help. Whatever. I'm just saying the general trend has always been, let's keep these things separate. Let's make sure they stay separate. That's why guys like the white nationalists kind of make me laugh, because I'm like, they think the government is promoting multiculturalism, and I can see the point there that they might be in a way, but they're also...
Anarchism would promote multiculturalism.
Sure, yeah, and I know it's like, I don't want to be like cheesy about it and I love everyone, but dude, I mean, I do love the fact that I've gotten to meet somebody from every corner of the fucking world. That's cool. A lot of people in the world didn't have that, you know. This is a cool country for that reason. But anyways, they look at it like the government promotes multiculturalism and blah blah blah. But really, the government and media promotes separatism, and they always will and always have. So they're already doing what you want, you know. I mean, it's already the case that people self-segregate. That's one of the white nationalist points. People self-segregate. Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of reasons that we fear each other that really aren't real, you know. Like, there's a lot of bullshit that has happened to influence that, I guess.
Yeah, like I know, I live in a pretty white neighborhood, and I know a black family that lived here, and they did have neighbors that were suspicious of them, because like they were friends of mine, and
of course, yeah,
it was weird for them, so they just moved to apartments.
Was that the kid you told me that it was coming over to hang out, and the cops stopped him and asked him what he's doing in this neighborhood and stuff?
Different kid.
And didn't the cop tell you that was a different kid?
That's a different kid.
But that happened, right?
That's another incident.
You had a friend coming over and he was black and the cops stopped him on his way?
Yeah.
And what, they said, like, you don't belong here or something?
No, they were just wondering why a black kid was walking through.
But what did they say to you?
Backyards.
Didn't the cops say something to you? Oh, he was walking through backyards? Okay.
Yeah. Like kids do, you know, to take shortcuts. But he was wondering why a black kid was doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But didn't he say something to you about, like, yeah, he says he knows you or something like that? Like, he says he's your friend. Like, he was suspicious of it?
No. Okay, that sort. No, that's not exactly how that happened. I was going to my white friend's house, who his black friend was coming to his house. So everything you said was true, except it was my friend, not me.
Okay, whatever.
And I was meeting them there. And I pull up, and then I see two cops walking through like both sides of the house. And I'm just sitting in my car across the street. So I turn my car back on and I like go to pull off, and one cop just starts running after me, blowing a whistle. Like, and I'm like, okay.
Is this a Monty Python sketch? What the fuck is that?
I swear to God, this happened. So I'm like, all right. I'm like, what are my choices here? I'm like, I will. Fuck. Oh, I did have weed on me.
Like, you could have probably gotten away without him seeing your license plate or anything.
Maybe, yeah, but they could have seen what type of car, and I live 2 blocks away.
Yeah.
Literally, it was just like, but I had like half a gram with me, so I'm like, I'll just stop the car, and before I had pulled away, I had stashed the weed I had in between the like side of the seat.
Okay, well, you goddamn get to the point.
So the weed's hidden. So I get out of the car. They pull me out of the car, and they just handcuff me, and they start asking me like, you know any black people? Oh, it's a white cop and a black. It's a white cop and a black cop.
Old guy, any white black guy, people?
Young black cop. He's like, you know any black people?
So at this point, you also don't really know anything that's going on. You just know the cops just pulled you out of the car and yelled, "Do you know any black people?" at you.
Yeah, I sped up the story because I thought I was taking too long.
You were.
Yeah. So yeah, I just like they pulled me out of the car, handcuffed me, and it's this old white guy and a black cop, and the black cop's like in my face playing bad cop, and he's like, you know any black people? And I'm like, yeah.
Well, now I know you, friend.
Yeah, you're right. And he's like, well, you got any black friends? And I was like, I had to think about it for how do you answer that question? It's like, yes, I
when
do.
the cops are asking you that, you're like, is this some kind of weird quiz? Like,
yeah,
what should I say to this? I don't know. Like,
do I say no and then I get to go?
Right,
By the way, this was on.
All right, we're just checking. Good. Go on about your business.
Yeah. But by the way, this was Thanksgiving morning. So, like, it was very weird. Like, it's just a whole weird scenario. And so I'm like, yeah, I have black friends. And he's like, okay, well, we gotta call about a black kid walking through the backyards here. And I'm like,
okay, what does that have to do with me?
I was like, I don't know. I'm just here this is my friend's house. They went to the store. And I was on the way here, and I'm just waiting for them to get back. I just didn't want to walk in. And he's like, and they pull in, and it's like a white kid driving the car, and a black kid there in the passenger seat, and he's like, dude, this is my friend. Yeah, that he was the one in the backyard, and they uncuffed me and let me go. But it was like this whole fucking thing.
God, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not looking forward to that atmosphere again. Jesus Christ.
It was ridiculous.
Holy
on Thanksgiving.
Fuck, dude. Yeah, they're pissed off that they're working on Thanksgiving too.
Like, and there's a thing called the turkey trot where it's like a run that you a 3K or 5K for breast cancer, and I had done it that day, and I was wearing the shirt, and they've got me handcuffed. I'm like, dude, look at I'm like, I just did the run for breast cancer. You've got me handcuffed.
I'm a nice local boy.
Yeah, I was like, look at my license. I live 2 blocks away, dude.
So you just ran a marathon and then drove 2 blocks to go?
yeah, to go get stoned before I ate, and then I had to deal with that.
Yeah, dude, that's the thing, and that's why, like, you can't pretend that law enforcement doesn't end up being. I know they are racist in a way in a lot of places, and it's like a chicken or the egg thing. Like, people will go, well, statistically black people commit more crime and blah blah blah, and it's like, yeah, but they've been selectively targeted for 150 fucking years, and it's like, you know, it's just
that doesn't make you murder more people because you're targeted.
Doesn't it? Because when you're, you know, here's the problem: the judicial system does not produce rehabilitated people. It produces worse criminals. We all know this. So if you take a certain community that's being extra policed and extra punished, and even if you accept that police departments and courts were racist, say in the 1920s, well, okay, now you have X amount of people in prison who come back to influence with prison culture, their community, their children, everything else, and eventually there's a way heavier element of that in that community that has only been produced by over enforcement in that community. You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying. But
what?
But I don't know. Statistics are
really, like,
statistics.
A lot of law enforcement, like the way it was kind of refined and honed and structured, was around catching runaway slaves. I mean, it's a racist institution, dude. There's really no argument.
I never said it wasn't. I guess it's not. Yeah, I don't have any disagreement.
Yeah, that's the thing, and that doesn't mean that you have to agree with everything Black Lives Matter does and says either, and you don't have to agree with everything. You know, it's just, why sit here and pretend that there's, you know, when we've both seen it with our own eyes. I've seen, you know, plenty of times. Cops are like, it's like when you have a steak and a big fucking dog is chasing you, and you throw the steak and it goes after the steak. That's what black people are for white drug users. They just always go after the black guy, and we slip away. Even though, look, I'm fucking around. I've been arrested 15 times. I know there's plenty. They do it to white people too. I get it. But still,
they arrest a lot of white people. You get what I'm
saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you don't know about this guy Jarrett Taylor, right?
No, I don't.
The greatest thing about this guy is he basically talks like a black comedian's impression of a white guy. It's pretty fucking hilarious. And here's my problem with white nationalists. I'm totally with them when they make these points about, look, white people aren't evil. It's ridiculous. The sort of double standard they have, like, with pride kind of issues of, like, look, if I say I'm proud to be white, I'm looked at like some kind of crazy fucking KKK guy. But if I say I'm proud to be Latino, Asian, blah, 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 everybody knows that argument, right? So I'm with them on points like that, where there does seem to be this sort of top-down effort to demonize the white race in a way. Are you there?
Yeah.
What is that?
Sorry, could you hear my audio?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was just playing through my headset. I'm sorry.
Why do you have other audio playing through your headset?
Well, because I wanted to hear what Jared Taylor's voice sounded like.
I was about to play it for you. That's why I'm setting it.
Okay,
That's
sorry.
why I'm setting it up like this.
Sorry, man. I open up the makers.
Jesus Christ, dude. Okay.
Jeez.
So what the hell was I saying?
Yeah, you tell me. You were talking about Jared Taylor.
Okay, just as a rule of thumb, don't start listening to other audio while you're talking to one other person.
Okay, it must have been coming out of the speakers.
Yeah, I know, but still, you're listening to it instead of listening to me, and then it's like the conversation just dies.
Okay, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I messed up.
I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about now. I'm trying to say that yeah, like I agree with them on points that like, yeah, it seems like there's been a top-down effort to sort of like demonize white people and make it so that like everyone can openly hate white people, but white people are supposed to just take everything and be like, oh, we're awful. You know?
Right.
So I'm with them on that kind of message. But then when they get into, well, I just think I would like to live in a society of only white people or mostly white people and whatever. I'm like, I can't make myself care about that. Like, I really don't want to exclude anyone. I think that's boring. Kind of sucks, you know. Even as much as
they can do that if they want to move to Finland.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because I was just talking a lot of shit about Middle Easterners in Europe. But like, so I understand there's some issues with that kind of thing. But like, for the most part, this country is pretty cool because it's made up of so many fucking different shits, you know? It's really not, you can't really just look around and go, this is a purely European place. You really can't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Because, I mean, the railroads.
What are you doing?
What about the railroads?
Yeah, what are you doing?
Sorry, I'm taking a piss, to be honest.
So you just weren't listening, or?
No, I took my computer with me, but I had it muted because I didn't want piss in the audio.
Okay, well it would be
because I thought you were getting to play a video and.
Yeah, I am, but you're the only other person on the show. Like, you can't just mute your mic and go away. Like, and
what should I say? What should I say? Hey, I gotta piss.
Yeah, or just who cares if you pee on the fucking show?
Oh, okay. Well, here it is.
Oh my god.
Almost done.
Oh, I'm gonna murder myself.
Who cares that I pee on the show? Here, I peed on the show.
We really
Done.
need to get back into the groove here. I'm gonna fucking murder everyone.
Last squirt. Yeah, we can just play the video that you wanted to play of him. I want to hear his voice.
It's fair to say you focus your work on
interviewing
race, on
Jared
racial
Taylor.
issues, mostly in America, specifically around the issue of white pride, as you call it. Is that accurate?
Well, white pride is not an expression I frequently use.
What is that? How do you characterize your work?
It can be divided in two areas. One is race realism, and race realism
Wait,
is the recognition that race is a...
This guy's voice is awesome.
Yeah, I know. Nobody actually talks like
nationalist?
that.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
No, I'll tell you what. This guy's a problem for leftists because he's hard to pin. He's hard to pin down. He's pretty intelligent. He's very focused and very convinced of his fucking message, you know. And he's got a good following. And yeah, this is an area where I'm like, you know, I would never want to really deny anyone's right to say anything, of course, but it's like it is uncomfortable. There's weird parts of it. I agree with some of it, not with other parts of it.
Right.
Yeah, and this is the thing. This is where this all lies. What do these people want? You know, if you just listen to this guy talk for a minute, it gets to be it's all about vague cultural stuff. I've heard this guy say, for instance, I think, you know, I'd like my grandchildren to listen to the traditional music of their ancestors. It's like, they're not gonna fucking do that, dude. That's not how it works. It's fucking retarded.
Oh, this is that guy you were telling me about?
But I don't get anybody's obsession with their culture. I've never understood that. I've never understood anybody's obsession with their heritage. Dude, what the fuck are you doing?
Well, I'm not muting anything because you said just make it part of the show. I'm getting ice for my drink. I'm sorry.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Sorry. Getting a fucking drink.
Oh my god.
All right.
It must be possible to do it quieter than that. It just has to be. Like, why does everything have to be explained? I don't understand this. I'm gonna fucking murder you. I'm gonna kill myself. I'm gonna kill everyone.
I don't know what it sounds like on the other side, so like you can't act like I do.
Okay, fine. You're right. Jared Taylor.
So, this guy's a dick, but I thought it was really funny at first, just his voice.
Yeah, I know I lost my train of thought. Just listen to
A logical fact. It's a phenomenon. It's not some sort of sociological construct, which is the trendy way of viewing things. No, it's part of biology, and it's also part of individual and group identity. And societies ignore the importance of biology and group identity at their peril. The other aspect of my work is white advocacy. That is, we speak for the interests of whites as a group. Every other racial group in the United States has organizations, publications, even congressional caucuses that look out for their interests, and whites should have the same thing. So, yes, race realism and white advocacy are my business.
It's fair to say you believe your white identity.
It's kind of hard to argue with stuff like that, right? It's like, okay, you know, the problem with guys like this is the ridiculousness of identity politics and leftist politics over the past like 30, 40 years have made him have a very solid position because he's like, look, everyone else can do it unabashedly, and I don't begrudge them and I don't deny them their right to do it. I would just like to do it too. Now, how do you argue with that?
Oh, is this a setup?
No, I'm just saying I don't even want to do that.
I mean,
I don't understand. What I was saying.
Like,
I was saying before. Hold on, because I got to finish what I was saying when I got mad about the ice. I was saying I never understood why anybody has this obsession with their heritage and culture. Mexicans do it. Black people do it. Italians do it. Everybody fucking does it. Different people do it. I never understood it. I don't care about it. I don't know. Whatever. But like, if you're gonna do it, well, why? How can you deny anyone else the right to do it? Right? If you want to just promote your kind of people and your kind of culture, okay. Well, then you open the door for white people to do it too.
Well, I think I it's hard to remember like when you were like in 5th grade what you actually were like. But I think I remember myself asking a teacher, like, why isn't there a White History Month? Why are we celebrating Black History Month?
Because every month is White History Month.
Yeah, and that would be the reply.
Right.
And why is every month White History Month?
Well, whatever, but you know, that's the thing. A lot of black people don't like that kind of shit either, where it's like, why are you acting like we're not just part of all history? Why do we have to have black history?
Yeah.
You know, like...
Yeah.
And
you want to know,
other people think it might be worth just mentioning, like, hey, look, you kind of forget that we have contributed to. I could see it both ways, you know, whatever.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
You want to know a weird thing? I didn't realize till recently that technically, like, Jews, they're not white at all.
Oh no, they're only white when it suits them. That's usually right. But then they're a minority when it suits them too.
I just got into that tier of anti-Zionism. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to use the term Semitism. I'm going to say Zionism. Yeah, but like, and it's like, wow, I never noticed that.
Yeah. That's a common meme with Jew haters. They'll all say that, but I kind of agree with that thing. Is like a lot of Jewish people do that.
Jew haters are annoying because it's like on some forum websites, I'll be in a thread and I think, there's a real interesting conversation coming here, and then it just becomes like nigger faggot, or like this is all because of the Jews running this and that, and the Jews this, and it's like people get so into it.
Yeah.
In some of those internet communities, that
I just think it's anytime
hard to find one that's not.
Yeah, anytime people get obsessed with one of those fucking one group, it seems silly to me, because I don't believe the entire global network of like a giant oligarchy that's going to turn into a one world government and kill everyone. I don't think that's all Jews. I don't think they're everything. American media, maybe disproportionate representation, possibly a little bit.
Little bit.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to deny some stuff. And I would hate to discover the truth about Jews, because I don't want to be anti-Jewish and anti-Semite. I don't want the next Holocaust to take place because I let the truth out about the Jews.
And I'd also
that's how
like
a lot.
To not.
Sorry,
What?
There's a delay on my
Yeah, you go.
That is how a lot of people are with race. Like, they shy away from like stats and differences and facts about whatever, because they just don't really want to know it, which is actually kind of fine. Maybe it makes life more fun, but that's one of the other things that's annoying about these white nationalist guys, is like everything is IQ and blah blah blah. And I've always been suspicious of IQ as a way to quantify actual intelligence. I don't know. I mean,
I don't even know. Yeah, like if I believe in IQ tests.
Yeah, there's obviously that's going to be a debate for many years still. But like, yeah, they're just annoying. It's just like, yeah, we're so much better and blah 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 and whatever. It's just I've watched it a lot, and I'm sympathetic to some of it and not to others, but whatever. You know what? Let's get out of here. It's been real. I think we're over our time here. So, Overdose Talk Show. Thanks if you made it to the end, everybody. We're gonna be back into our regular flow here when I get back to Illinois. Like I said, doing 2 weeks a show, just like we used to, or 2 weeks, or 2 shows a week. Shit.
You suck. It'll be better. So.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Just wait. Just wait.
Fun.
This is a teaser, if you will.
Go back and listen to like the shows in the number 70 to 85-ish range. That's what it'll be like. All right. See you later, everybody. Bye, Alex.
Peace.